Hello and welcome. We're going to learn how to create the game FlappyBunny, which is modeled after the game FlappyBird. Notice that we have a little character of a bunny that can fly, and he is hopping along in the sky, and he needs to avoid these pipes or else he dies. And there is a reset button, so we'll program our reset button so that players can reset their game. And we'll see if we can get through the pipes here. But as we move through the pipes, if we get through these, there'll be more pipes that come along. And then if our bunny hits any of these pipes or hits the bottom of the screen, then he dies and we do a reset. All right, let's see how to program this. So I've given you an asset file. It's a file with some made assets already inside of it. And we have a sound of a boing. And then we have some buildings, which are a movie clip, and you can double click to look at this movie clip. Notice there's nothing on the timeline. We're going to write this code to manipulate our buildings in the code. Then we have a carrot that is a PNG or a picture file, our dead bunny, our happy and alive bunny, and then our pipe PNG. Alright, our first step is we're going to make this bunny character. And we're going to make him into a movie clip so that we can instantiate him in our code and manipulate him through our code. Alright, so let's go ahead and drag our bunny character image to our stage, and I'm going to reduce his size using my free transform tool here. I'll give you guys a smaller image. Remember, if you do get a bigger image online, it'd be better to manipulate his size through Fireworks or Photoshop. Alright, let's go ahead and convert him to a movie clip. So I'm going to, on Windows, you could press F8 as your shortcut key to make him into a movie clip symbol. On a Mac, you can go to Modify, Convert to Symbol, and go ahead and name your character. Remember to name him with a capital letter, and this is because this is a class. And he's going to be an object of type movie clip. So this is a class name. We need to name those with capital letters. That's a standard. We'll go ahead and export for ActionScript, and we'll press OK. It tells us that it's going to make this class file for us, and that is fine. And there is our FlappyBunny. There's his linkage where we're going to be able to create him with our lines of ActionScript. Now we're going to manipulate this FlappyBunny on his own internal timeline. All movie clips have their own internal timelines, and I can double click over here on the left to jump into that movie clip's timeline. I can also notice up here in the top left hand corner that I am manipulating the FlappyBunny's internal timeline. Alright, we're going to add two layers, so I'm going to use my new layer button down here at the bottom, left hand corner, and my top layer is going to be my actions layer. Now I can add actions or ActionScript on a timeline. I don't want to add a lot of complicated code on my timeline or else it will not compile correctly. But we can put things like stop and go to and play, and those kind of actions will compile correctly on your timelines. We'll go ahead and make the second layer called our labels layer, and we're going to use this layer to label our keyframes. And then the last layer is our bunny layer, and that's where we have our bunny character and where we'll manipulate him. Okay, so on our actions layer, on this top layer, we're going to add an actions. Now if your actions panel is not open, remember the shortcut to open up your actions panel is the F9 key. And we're going to put the stop command here. Okay, so every movie clip has a stop command, and it's going to tell it to wait on frame 1 and don't play all the other frames until I tell you to go to the next frame. You can double click to close your actions layer, and then on your labels layer you want to label frame number 2. We're going to label frame number 2 by clicking on frame number 2 and then going up to the properties panel and naming this frame. We need to make it into a keyframe so that we can give it a name. So you can use your F6 key, or on a Mac right click and say insert keyframe, and now we can give it a name. And we're going to call it die, because this is on frame 2, we're going to have the bunny die. So now we need a dead bunny. Okay, so on frame 2, in the bunnies layer, you can even lock the other layers to make sure that you're on this last layer. We're going to add another keyframe, and you can add a keyframe by just dragging our dead bunny picture out to the stage. Actually, we're going to add a keyframe here, so right click on a Mac or F6 on your Windows and add a keyframe, and then we're going to delete the live bunny picture. Before we delete him though, let's go over to his properties and look at his size. So his size is about 57 by 57, we'll say. Okay, and that's in his properties panel. Then I'm going to click off my bunny, go back to my library, and then I'm going to delete my bunny from the stage, and I'm going to bring the dead bunny out. So here's our dead bunny picture. I'll go ahead and bring him out, and I want to line him up with the crosshairs like the live bunny was lined up so that his X and Y value is at 0, 0. And I can go to his properties panel to get it exactly 0, 0. And then I can also make him the same size, 57 by 57. And so that way, when I go from live bunny to dead bunny, it'll be the same size and it looks like he's deceasing. So we'll have him stop on frame 1. Our stop command will tell our bunny to stop, and then we'll tell it to go to and play the die frame, which is frame number 2, and then our bunny will die. Alright, our Flappy Bunny is ready to go. Let's start up our code. Alright, so click back on scene 1, click off of your bunny, click back on and delete this instance of your bunny. Remember that the bunny is still over here inside of your library. Alright, now click back on properties, and we're going to start writing our class file. We're going to write all of our code in a separate class file. So here, inside of our properties for our stage, let's write the name of our class file. So we'll call this FlappyBunny. You can call it whatever you want, just remember to name it with a capital letter because it is a class name. Then go ahead and hit that pencil icon there. And I've already named a file in the same file folder, FlappyBunny. So I'm going to name it FlappyBunny2. It doesn't really matter what you name it. Remember, just name it with a capital letter and something that makes sense. So go ahead and hit OK, and it opens up that new class file. Right away, if you want to do this, it might help you out. You can go ahead and name your ending curly brackets, and you can name them with end of my constructor. So I can just say end of constructor. Here's the end of my class, and then here is the end of my package. Alright, so we have an import statement that's telling us it's going to import movie clip because our Flappy Bunny is a movie clip. He extends or inherits from movie clip class. So he has all the properties of a movie clip. So that is our game file. Notice that your game file should be stored in a file with the same name. So here, up here in the right-hand corner here, we see that FlappyBunny2 is the name of our file. It matches the name of our class, and it matches the name of our constructor. So if you ever change any of these names, you have to make them match. Alright, so let's declare an instance of our Flappy Bunny. And we do that by using a private modifier. And we're going to use private because we're going to be good programmers and learn good programming practice and make our instance variables private. And then we say, hey, we're making a variable, so we use the keyword var. And then we name our instance variable, whatever we want to name it. Now remember just to name it with a lowercase letter. And then we put a colon, and then we put what type of variable he is. And he is of type Flappy Bunny. Now I say type Flappy Bunny because that is what I named my movie clip object over here that I want to instantiate. Alright, so this is our declaration, and now we're going to come down here inside of our constructor and do our instantiation. So here's where we are instantiating our variables. Okay? Alright, so we're going to say our bunny object is assigned the value of a new instance of FlappyBunny. And we're calling the FlappyBunny constructor to instantiate that object. Now we'll go ahead and add him to the stage. So we'll say stage.addChild, which is a property of our stage. Sorry, not a property, a method of our stage. And inside of this method is what you want to add to the stage. And we'll add our bunny object. So we'll go ahead and save this file. Remember that you want to save it in the same file folder where you saved your flaw file. And it'll save with the same name as you named the class name. And don't change this name, it needs to match our class name and our constructor name. We'll go ahead and hit save, and then we'll run our code by hitting Control Enter. And I have an error, so I'll go ahead, I forgot my // for my comments. Remember that everything after // is ignored. And now it compiles correctly. But where is my bunny? Notice that my bunny is not here on the stage. And my bunny hasn't appeared on the stage because I needed to save my file. So remember, after you change your file, if your file is not saved, you'll see a little star here. And if he's not saved, he's not going to use that newly compiled code. So there's my bunny. Notice that his crosshair, his 0, 0 position, is placed at the 0, 0 position of the stage. So if I want to change the location of my bunny, I need to change his x and y values. Now remember that the positive x direction is 0, 0 is over here on the left, and the positive x direction is this way, and he goes to stage.width. And then the positive y direction is actually downward, and he goes to stage.height. So I can change the value of my bunny's x and y by accessing that property with the dot operator. So I'll say bunny.x, there's his x property. I'm going to say is assigned the value of, let's say I'll just hard code a number 300. And let's say the bunny's.y value is also equal to 300. I'll save this file, Control S, and then Control Enter to see where he ends up on the stage. So the 0, 0 point of my bunny, or that crosshair, is up in the upper left-hand corner. So here is x equal 300, and here is y equals 300, and he's placed here on my stage. Now I want you to think how we could get the bunny to appear in the middle of the stage. Think about the properties for our stage. And I'll give you a clue. Instead of hard coding 300, what if I put stage.stageWidth here? Okay, notice that when I type stage, a shortcut box comes up here with all of the properties for my stage. And one of those properties is stage width, which is the width of my stage. But I don't want him to appear at the end of my stage. How about stage width divided by 2? If I save this and now I run my code, I can see that now, hey, his x value is in the middle of my stage. Okay, I want you guys to try to figure out what you should put here instead of 300. Think about how we wrote this line of code and think how you would change this line of code to be the stage height. So in the next video, we need to go over our next step, which will be making the bunny move and fall down the screen. Think how you would do this. Alright, see you in the next video.